Good evening, Wood County, and welcome to your BG24 Sports Highlight Show. I'm Jerome White. With me tonight is my co-host, Zach Carrion. In our Around the Horn segment, we will be joined by Ryan Strobeck of the Bowling Green Radio Sports Organization.
Tonight, we'll be analyzing the BGSU football game this past Saturday, followed by a quick recap of the men's hockey team action this weekend. Stay tuned. We have it all right here on the BG24 Sports Highlight Show.
It's un-Falcon believable coverage that you won't get anywhere else. This is BG24 Sports.
Heading into homecoming weekend, the Falcons faced the University of Akron Zips and came away with an impressive 59-10 victory. With this win, the Falcons improved their record to 5-2. Bowling Green totaled 120 yards on the ground and 412 yards passing. Quarterback Matt Johnson and receiver Roger Lewis were two main components in this victory.
BGSU receiver Roger Lewis continued his great season this week, putting up some impressive receiving numbers. Roger Lewis had 6 receptions on the day. With those receptions, he gained 118 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Lewis is currently second in the nation in receiving yards with a total of 1,020 on the year.
It was another great day for the Falcon offense, and leading the way was quarterback Matt Johnson. The Falcon quarterback is having a great season thus far, and once again, he controlled the game with his aerial assault. Here we'll take a look at some of the numbers that the Falcon quarterback had. Johnson completed 83% of his passes, going 25 of 30 for 357 yards with 5 touchdowns. Lewis wasn't the only receiver getting in on the action, as Johnson completed touchdown passes to 4 different receivers. Matt Johnson remains the top passer in the nation with 2,891 yards, 24 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. Let's take a look at the Falcons' football schedule for the coming weeks. This Saturday, the Falcons travel to Kent State to take on their rivals, the Golden Flashes. After their Kent State matchup, the Falcons will take on the Ohio University Bobcats. Then in the later weeks of the season, the Falcons will have to prepare for a road game against Western Michigan, followed by a home game against the University of Toledo, and finishing the season off with the Falcons travel to Ball State to take on the Cardinals.
Well, it looks like the Falcons are really starting to hit their stride, with 4 straight wins, actually. How do you think the rest of the season is going to go, Jerome?
Well, I think that they're going to cruise into that matchup against Toledo, and that's going to be the toughest game this year, with Toledo being ranked in the top 25 now.
Yep. And
we'll see. The weather's going to start changing soon, and can Matt Johnson continue his aerial onslaught? We don't know, So we'll see how the season goes on. With that Toledo matchup, I have it highlighted on my calendar. I'm excited for it.
Absolutely, and Matt Johnson still, even when it is getting a little cold, he's still slinging the ball
well.
He is,
and this last game of homecoming weekend was a dominant performance. The defense played great, pitched a shutout in the second half. Offense carried the team again, 59 points put up on the board.
Yeah, huge.
It was a huge game. 5 touchdown passes from Matt Johnson. Big game, big day.
BGSU men's hockey team traveled to New York this past weekend to play a pair of games against the Kansas College and the Rochester Institute of Technology. The Falcons beat Kansas College Golden Griffins with a score of 4-2. The following day, they tied Rochester 2-2. Senior forward Mark Cooper and junior forward Kevin DeFore contributed a pair of goals in the 2-game stretch. Bowling Green is now 3-1-1 overall and sits at number 12 in the latest college hockey rankings. The Falcons will head way up north to play 2 games against Alaska Anchorage at the end of the month. Now, the hockey team has been playing pretty well. It's really exciting to see them be in that top 25 rankings for college hockey.
Yeah, I remember on Media Day you were talking about they thought about getting rid of the team, and now for the team to be one of the top programs in the nation, it's real big for the school and real big for the hockey program in Bowling Green. And number 12 in the nation, that's a big thing. It's a big step, and they can only go up from now. Just keep moving up in the rankings and the standings and play for a championship.
Yeah, and it's always exciting to head to the ice arena. I mean, we love hockey here at BG, and it's always electric during those big games.
Mm-hmm. Especially during MAC play. Once MAC play comes around, I can't imagine the hockey arena not being full. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
How packed the stadium always is, all of the cars, traffic on Wooster.
Yeah,
this is going to be a big season for the hockey team.
Yeah, very exciting.
Stay tuned for our Around the Country, our weekly discussion and debate on the hottest topics in national sports. Ryan Strobeck of the Bowling Green Radio Sports Organization will be joining us. We'll be right back.
Welcome to our discussion and debate segment called Around the Country. I'm joined by Jerome White and Ryan Strobeck today. And we are talking about the Chicago Cubs. Can they win the World Series? Is it finally time? And Peyton Manning had a rough game against the Cleveland Browns. Is he finished? Is he too old? What's up with that? And we got Michigan and Michigan State, a wild game in the Big House this weekend, and a wild punt. We'll see what happens with that. So on to our first topic, the Chicago Cubs. They're in a series with the New York Mets. It's going to be kind of a rough series for them, I think. They're already down 2 games, but a lot of people still have them picked to win the World Series. Me personally, not a chance. The Chicago Cubs are incapable of winning a World Series. The last time they were playing in one, the Model T came out. And they're definitely not going to beat the Mets. The Mets are just flat out a better team. They had no business even beating the Cardinals. And not a chance they're going to beat the Royals. They're just a far superior team. But Jerome, maybe you have something else to say about that.
Yeah, I do have something else to say about that. I think the Cubs can pull it off. I'm from Cleveland, used to curses, used to letdowns, and I have to root for the Cubs, you know, just because my Indians didn't make it. And I can see the Cubs getting over that hump, getting over that curse. They're the team that nobody wants to see win it. But if they won it, everyone would love the fact that they won. And I see them winning. I just don't see them losing. And I can see them coming out with this hype and this curse and kicking the curse to the side and winning the World Series, beating the Royals, whoever steps in their way.
Curses are one thing, Jerome, but I just really don't think they're that good of a team. But Ryan, what do you think, man?
I mean, historically it says it's impossible for the Cubs to come back from down 2-0 right now. But I think they have all the tools they can. They got Anthony Rizzo at first base, and they got Chris Bryant at third base. They are very well positioned to make a run and make the Mets go to 7 games. I mean, you look at them; they have pitching and they have hitting, so the Cubs could make a push to 7 games, and I could actually see them going to the World Series. On the other side, I see the Royals advancing, and that'd be a Royals-Cubs World Series. But when it gets to the World Series, I want the Cubs to win, but I think the Royals' experience will upend them and go to, and the Royals will win the World Series then.
Well, I think it's very unlikely that they even get past the Mets. I mean, it's very rare when you see a team down by 2 games like that come back and win a series. The last time we saw that, it was, I think, probably, in my memory, Boston versus Indians. I know that one hurt a little bit. And Boston versus New York. It's unlikely, but it could happen. I kind of doubt it. But on to our next topic, Peyton Manning. He's getting up there in years. He's thrown, 10 interceptions already this season and only 7 touchdowns. But that defense has been playing so well, and they've kept the Denver Broncos undefeated. You ask me, though, Peyton Manning's done. He's too old. He had that little cough of a pass to Barkevius Mingo that just looked weak. He's done. He's finished. There's nothing left for Peyton Manning. He's not an elite quarterback anymore, and it's time to retire, man. Jerome, though, what do you got to say?
I think Peyton will pull it together, but we're not used to seeing this Peyton Manning. I don't even know if this is Peyton Manning right now. He's looking like his brother, and his brother's looking like him. So we're not used to seeing their roles flop like this in this manner. And it's kind of causing an uproar in the sports. And they're still undefeated. They haven't lost a game yet. No matter how bad Peyton plays, that defense pulls them out of it. And he kind of manages the game like to a certain point. But I don't think he's done. I think this might be the last good productive year we see out of him, and Denver needs to start grooming another quarterback to replace Peyton. So maybe this might be the year that they start grooming that quarterback. We don't know, but I do know that Peyton is Peyton Manning, and I've learned to never count that man out. He's like on a level with Tom Brady, and we don't count those 2 guys out.
Well, I learned to count him out any time it came to winning a championship. But Ryan, what do you think about Peyton Manning, man?
I don't think Peyton Manning's finished personally. I mean, the team's 6-0. You've talked about it before. You don't do that with a finished quarterback. I mean, give me a break. He has enough left in the tank to lead this team to the playoffs, and that's exactly not what a finished quarterback will do. I mean, he's not finished. He can still throw the ball, but he may not have the zip he did before. But I mean, he's not finished by any means. He still manages the game better than any other quarterback in the league. I mean, name one other quarterback who can manage the game better than Peyton Manning can.
Trent Dilfer. 2001,
no.
Ravens.
Yeah, no.
This is the same situation.
It's the same situation.
It is the same situation, but don't ever compare Trent Dilfer to Peyton Manning. That's like, and Trent Dilfer tries to compare himself to elite quarterbacks, and he's not. He's never been. We know Trent Dilfer from Cleveland. We've seen what he does when he has his own team, man. That was Ray Lewis and those boys' team back then. Trent Dilfer just was in charge of handing the ball to Jamal Lewis and just stepping back. That's really what he did.
Yeah, it's absolutely the same situation, except I don't think this team's winning a Super Bowl. I just don't think they're that good, even though the defense is still phenomenal.
Peyton still has an elite offense, though. His receivers are Pro Bowl receivers. You have Emmanuel Sanders on one side, Demaryius Thomas, even though he had some big drops yesterday's game. You still have a good offense in Denver.
Well, he's got to get the ball to them. But moving on anyways, Michigan State, what a game it was. It was close neck and neck, and then the Michigan punter, I don't know what he was trying to do. He fumbled the ball and then just kind of gave it up to Michigan State, letting them win with the clock ticking away. Did Michigan lose this game, or was it just all heart by Michigan State, Jerome?
I think Michigan lost this game, and I don't know what the punter was trying to do. Like, I tried to watch it multiple times to see if it was a bad snap or if it was just mishandled, and I think it was mishandled. Now, he could have shanked the punt. He could have fell down. Could have tried to throw it. He tried to do a Reggie Bush highlight move and lost the ball, and Michigan State picked it up and ran it into the end zone. And the punter is pretty much on him because he had the opportunity to just fall down, and Michigan State could have attempted the field goal, but it's highly unlikely that they would have made that field goal.
Yeah, I just don't think Michigan had any business being in that game anyway because Michigan State is a far superior team. I think Michigan's just all hype. Harbaugh comes in, everyone thinks that they're going to turn it around. I say not a chance. But Ryan, maybe you have something else to say.
Michigan State actually did not have a lead in that game until the final play, so I don't know if you're saying Michigan's that bad of a team, because I don't think that's true.
You don't get 3 straight shutouts beating the bad team. You don't do that.
They beat a very good Northwestern team.
Not a top-tier team, though.
I think they are.
They almost won that game. I think they're a top-tier team. Like I said, I hate Michigan because I'm an Ohio State fan, but they had no business losing that game. You say they had no business being in that game, had no business losing that game.
The game kind of reminded me of the Auburn-Alabama game just a few years back. I mean, that was about as wild finish as we've seen in a while.
Yeah, a return kickoff for a touchdown to win the game.
But it was pure luck out of Michigan State. They were just right there at the right time or in the right place.
I mean, you have to have some type of awareness, though, to land on the ball and tackle the punter because, like I said, he tried to make a move, and in order for them to get the ball back, you have to force the ball out, and they did a good job at that. So all those hand swiping in there, knocking the ball out and getting the touchdown. You have to outrun everyone, too. It's not luck to outrun everyone. You'll have people chasing you.
Right. Well, that's going to be it for that segment, and that's going to be it for our show. Thank you for watching us today. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, tune in tomorrow at 5:30 for our local news show. We will see you next week.